Hello, it's jessicaamaladawn, and I am back for your weekly Divine Love energy reading. This is actually not at all what I thought it was going to be. I think this is going to be quite a bit different tonight, and I'm super excited about it. Um, Part of why I'm a little bit late tonight is because of the meditation that I just did and the insights that I just got prior to getting on the call that I'm so excited to share with all of you. And in addition to that, how that kind of relates back to some of the little hints that were coming through in the messages from the divine that I was receiving earlier in my preview to tonight's call for the weekly energy update for the divine love energies. So, yes, oneness is here, quantum collaboration and Akashic expansion. And this is for November 2nd to November 9th, roughly. But I feel like in light of, I apologize for the background noise. I feel like in light of the whole Mercury retrograde and the whole idea of communication and inner communication becoming more significant in periods of Mercury retrograde as there's challenges with external communication. I feel like that energy is actually what is making it a little bit easier to tap into what I saw. So let's just get into that. What was I seeing? What did I sense? And I have been overall feeling this move from this I perspective to this we perspective lately. And I actually, interestingly enough, that 2 times I tried to order a journal that includes a space on each page for each day to do an I am statement. And both times the orders just mysteriously disappeared, like I never ordered it, and I have not received the book. And so the universe was sending me a very clear message around the sort of, it almost seems like now that there's been this actualization of the I am presence, that we're like moving like a full actualization of our I am presence, if you resonate with that message, that we're moving now into the we are presence, which is very much connected to quantum communication, telepathic communication through a quantum field of communication that's available to our mind beyond the illusion of separation. And instead, what the universe sent me, just because I might as well show you because it's here and it's cute, was they got this book that says, Live a Thankful Life. And it's so cute. And it's just this like tiny little book, and it was really, really affordable. And then like I can just basically fill out a page that's I could do like 1 page each morning and 1 page each night, and then on one side and the other side, and that's my day of gratitude, and that's it. Just instead of, and whether or not I decide in the future that I want to add some sort of world visions or we are statements in terms of how I want to see the collective rise up and empower themselves through these we statements. This whole me to we concept, right? Actually, the guy who started me to we, if you've ever heard of that, was actually from the same town, the same suburb that I grew up in, which is pretty cool. And I remember when I was a kid and I saw him on Oprah for the first time, I actually sat there and bawled my eyes out because I was like, oh my God, this guy's saving the world and I'm not. What's wrong with me? So there's just a little fun story. So I think this is great. I highly recommend picking up a tiny little book like this where you can do your own gratitude if you don't already practice that in the morning and at night. Kind of a little bit of an aside, but it all ties back to stepping more into love and abundance, which are intricately tied. And as I just said that, it was exactly 4:44 on the clock. So that's a little angel message for you. So so I'm really feeling like collaboration was just kept being shown. Collaboration. And like in my meditation, it's like I was seeing all these bubbles, like I was able to kind of like vaguely remote view into all these different situations, like a boy and a girl having a conversation, or a couple, dare I say, being intimate, or just like two people working together on a project, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like all these different bubbles of two people, like with some sort of, we'll just say maybe some sort of polarity of energy or something that they can learn or gain from each other through this, I guess we'll just say this quantum field matrix, where they can easily, in this realm, it's almost like a computer made up of all the different brains of all the supercomputer brains we have coming together in this higher plane, this higher field, and being able to, through connecting, but through these different portals into these different relationships, to all of the Akashic memory, the Akashic record or field that has ever existed between those two people, and download it like you would download a software or some, basically, or download data or download information. And then you could, like, once you've had that experience of deeply connecting and collaborating with this other person, and like basically gaining all the knowledge, insight, skills to be gained from that connection, then kind of being able to move on to another place in the field and learn from that. And it was a way of connecting that was fully cognizant of us as souls having, multiple incarnations or parallel timelines, and able to download all this information across the field. And so that's why it's like quantum. It's quantum because it's like rapidly through this process of being able to shift to all these different portals and timelines, being able to go higher and higher through into a greater degree of oneness consciousness and oneness with the all that is, because of like this rapid increase of knowledge, insight, enlightenment, and no doubt many innovations that would come from all of this rapid downloading of data and information, and a lot of ancient knowledge in that as well, and shifting into this like much more global consciousness, and much higher, a much more evolved consciousness, rapidly evolved consciousness that will have a lot of new innovations that will help to solve a lot of the challenges that we currently face on the planet, including climate change and other environmental crises. Soil erosion is a big one that most people don't talk about. The oceans, I think people are more aware of. It's a big issue, especially the death of a lot of the significant coral reefs in the world and the bleaching of them has become quite an issue. So I just thought this was like really fascinating that all this was just given to me, like that I just kind of saw this, and I was like, interesting. And what really fascinated me too is that children are able to do this as well. And in some cases, children are going to think, because of their purity, because they haven't gone through a lot of the damage that a lot of adults have from the old paradigm, they're like, they don't have to go through such a big healing process to get back to a more kind of pure, healed state, because they're already there, or a more divine connected state to be able to do this. And so if they just do it in a way that's appropriate for their age level. So, and I just think this is so fascinating. And just to give like a little tiny example of how a little kind of clue that came up today, was I was asking my daughter if she wanted to take skiing lessons this year, after chatting about it with my parents and us thinking that this would be a fun idea. And when I was asked her about it, she's like, "Mommy, I already know how to ski." And I was like, "No, you don't." And I think like it's not really like her to normally do that. Like, I'm teaching her how to ride a bike and learn how to balance, and I do not get that response at all. She actually really struggles with it, and she has no Akashic memory of riding a bike in her in her memory, in her field. So for her to be just so confident and sure, and she said it multiple times. Oh, I know how to do that, mommy. I know how to do that. Are you sure you want to give me lessons? Because I will know how to do it. So I just think it's like, well, something came up for her where she was able to access some memory of being able to do that. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'll have to give an update whether or not she was really just BSing me or whether or not she actually knows, at least on some level, how to ski. So just to kind of like wrap up this sort of intro before I do some cards, what I think is really fascinating is that a lot of this communication was happening through sort of the edge of our auric field, or basically the edge of our field. Or maybe even through different edges of our field because we have different layers. But the reason why this is significant is that, like, while our DNA in our bodies and our cells is what's scripting our experience, what's writing our experience, the communication that gives the orders to all the different cells in our body so that we all kind of function as a living organism happens through the cellular membranes, happens through the edge, and happens through that circular body, right, which is such a like sacred symbol in Native cultures, the circle and the sphere. And so what it really felt like was all of this communication was happening through the sphere, like through the edge, through our edge. And I just was thinking, so this is maybe like the natural way, this way of communicating telepathically and quantumly with other people and maybe with other beings and other dimensions and other planets through this edge, and having it just be like seamless and fluid and natural, and being able to remote view and communicate here and there, just like basically like everything in your brain just becomes like an activated supercomputer of sorts. That this is natural, that this is like the true way, and that this is, I'm wondering if this is how we're actually always supposed to be able to communicate, like, so that our communication with others, that are the way that we are able to get along and collaborate and function as a oneness consciousness, as a one unit of humanity, if that was always supposed to be the way, and it was actually shut down because of the manipulation of our genetics and shutting down parts of our DNA that was just changing the way our cells were expressing, and then changing the way our fields were working as well, because it's all connected. So again, it's all like really new stuff, and it might be like a little bit seeming like a little bit confusing or complex or complicated, because this is even sort of new for me at this point, but it just felt like really relevant to share it, because I feel like we need new conversations in this community around like the whole point of a divine love journey and an awakening journey. We really like need to start thinking on this highest, biggest level about like actually taking these journeys beyond just what this is going to do for making me like have a good life, so I can like, you know, go on a lot of holidays or hang out at the beach, or just, you know, just sort of, you know, have it chill, like, and hang out with my friends. And I don't want to say that's not good. It is good. It's absolutely good. But there's a level of shifting in our consciousness, an expansion of consciousness into this oneness consciousness that is absolutely necessary and required, that we are aspiring like through the collective field, through the evolutionary process to get to, in order to be able to function in ways that are both thriving and connected and harmonious with the entire tribe of humanity and with the earth in a way that is sustainable. And we don't have that right now. We don't. And so, you know, nobody, until we have it, until we do, nobody that's really giving advice out there online really knows everything. They're just giving the best of what they know thus far. And we're all just like, we're all just got to put ourselves out there, give the best of what we feel is coming up. And the more we do that, the easier it's going to be to start pulling these pieces of the quantum field together and creating this synthesis and igniting a synergy and a fusion of different chemistry in our, I feel like in our cells, in our biology, that's going to help to activate certain shifts. It's a very alchemical process, I think, on a physical level, as much as it is a shifting in our abilities and ways that we connect with the quantum field. So yeah, so Divine Love Weekly, like, it's oneness is here. Like, this is the beginning of something totally new and awesome, and this was all made possible by all this work of the healing that has been done up until now and moving into love, because without that basis in love, that sacredness of loving exchange, this is not possible. It sounds all very much like out of like very kind of a little bit superhero, and like this is what superheroes do, but and it is and it's made possible through your purity and through your love and through your loving intention, because all these connections I saw had a sacred, soulful underlying understanding and quality to them, in addition to whatever other information was being provided as a kind of underlying understanding. And that's really important shift, because right now, the way that we kind of, the scientific methods that we currently work with function more on an inquiry basis rather than this sort of like download and then sort of, we'll just say like download and test versus hypothesize and test, slightly different. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very excited to see how that evolves. So having said that, like, let's just dive a little bit into the divine masculine and divine feminine energies for the week in relation to love, in relation to these unified fields, collaboration, and just see what wants to come out. Yeah, I think it's just like will be good to see, because this conversation was really a little bit different, very different than a typical conversation about love. I mean, most of the people that I see, doing cards and talking about this stuff are really talking very specifically about specific situations and what you've been through and what your hardships have been and what's coming into your life now in a more tangible way. And there's nothing like necessarily wrong with that, but a lot of the time people are not necessarily right or accurate about that in a general reading. And sometimes they're not even right about it in a personal reading. So I think talking about these energies from a little bit more of an evolutionary perspective, just like you can talk about astrology in different ways too. And I love learning astrology from an evolutionary perspective. I think it's just it's just a really great conversation to be having that's a little bit different and I think needed. So, but that's just my perspective. I know a lot of people are really just looking more for the love. But what I would have to say to that is like, the love ultimately is in you, and the love will always come back when you are moving towards being your absolute best self, and giving the absolute best you can be. And for me, this is how I do that. So, and I can say as a result of that, like I've received a lot of reflections lately of a lot of divine masculine just popping into my field, into my world, shining all this like love and adoration on me, kind of out of the blue, out of nowhere. And it all came out of, coming into a really profound self-love and a willingness to fully move forward in the depth of my authenticity with absolutely no shame, no guilt, and no holding back. And I hear no remorse. Anyway, no remorse. So let's just pick an overall card for the energies for divine love for the week from the Energy Oracle, just to start. Interesting that it came out sideways. Okay, so we got the Temple Path. It came out sideways. So I'm going to pull some cards for the divine feminine and divine masculine to kind of get a little bit more of a sense of that. I would say that on the whole, like things are on the right track, and that this conversation even is on the right track towards moving towards our higher spiritual purpose and our spiritual destiny. But but I think it's like sideways because it's like this conversation's a little sideways. It's like, what? Oh, it's like we're moving a little bit sideways, a sideways elevator. I love it. This is very representative of a concept that my astrology teacher, Stephanie Azaria from the Cosmic Path, please, actually, she's just healing from a very bad illness. So if you want to send her some light and love and healing prayers, that would mean the world to me right now. So, but she talks about a term where there's certain times, and maybe we're in one and I don't know about it because nobody else really talks about them but her. And she hasn't been able to give updates. But when we're in a sideways elevator, oh no, actually, no, we're not. I just answered my own question. But what it means is like we're shifting into a higher, like a whole new place that we never could have accessed before. And it's all because of like seeing something new. Like I just saw a new potential and I'm moving towards it. And that anytime you do that consciously, you're expanding your consciousness. You're kind of moving through a black hole or through a sideways elevator into a new path that's on the right path for you, that's helping you to grow in quantum levels, that's helping you to connect more to your higher self, to higher beings, to your ultimate highest purpose, your highest potentials to offer. But it's just different. It's just different. It's not coming like, it's a little bit maybe different and more broad and expanded than what you would have expected. So, and that's, you know, a joint energy for both divine masculine and the divine feminine. So, but yeah, this whole conversation that I was having that was a little bit more spiritual and broad with this is like very much a card about being on the spiritual path and being on the right path. It's just going to show the significance of spirituality in love this week. So let's get a card for the overall energy for the feminine. Interesting. And a card for the masculine, overall energy card for the masculine. Okay. And can I get one more overall energy card for the feminine? And one more overall energy card for the masculine. Okay. All right. All right. So for the feminine, what we've got is walking away and hostilities. So, I mean, my first, to be honest, if I'm going to be absolutely honest, I do feel like this has to do with some frustration on the feminine's part towards a particular masculine, divine masculine counterpart, and being, it just feels like a lot of fed up energy and giving up, like very much like this giving up, walking away energy. So, I feel like that's like the predominant one for whoever's watching this. It could also have to do with deciding that you want to free yourself from past ways of being argumentative towards other people in your ways of having communication, and realizing that you maybe could have been a little bit harsher in the past than you would have liked in certain situations, and deciding to kind of fully walk away from any old ways of being judgmental or harsh in the way they communicate with other people, and really ending that for good in order to move into these higher states of light and love. And I think like both of those messages are kind of relevant, but the first one is the one that I really want to kind of point out, because there's more of a warning in that there could be some self-sabotage with that energy going on. And there's a need to really kind of look, to take a little bit of a closer look. I mean, there is also the potential that there could be some hostile communication coming in some cases that's causing someone to walk away, but I'm not feeling that energy super strong. I'm really not. It really more feels like I just feel like this energy, like I'm worth more than this. I'm a little bit angry and resentful at somebody for not giving me what I wanted, which is, again, there's some ego in that. There's some healing that's needed in that. So if you're resonating, it's really good idea to go deeper in, right, on your spiritual path and take a closer look at the bigger picture. So that's the overall energy for the feminine. And then for the masculine energy, what we've got here is Magician in the Mirror, and we've got second chakra, Archangel Ariel in reverse. So the first card that came out was Magician in the Mirror. And this is like all about stepping it fully into your power and really becoming the creator of your life after maybe a time of feeling kind of disempowered and unable to do that. And I really actually also personally pulled that card today. So it's kind of nice to see that here again. So yeah, it's like there could be like some, I think that with the second chakra, Archangel Ariel reversed, like there could just be this still these sort of residual wounds about not having the full nurturing in past relationships that need sort of a level of full healing in order to have the life force foundation to kind of fully move forward and be manifesting through steps, you know, progressive, logical, and tangible, and just inspired steps towards making dreams a reality every single day with regards to love. But I think that because of specifically because of mother issues and mother wounding from the past, because we've got the second chakra, which I think is really tied to the womb area. I just feel like it's just holding things like a little bit back and making it's a bit of a draining energy. When the lower chakras are not fully healed, it's a bit of a draining energy that makes it a little bit challenging to come into full balance in order to fully ignite this power to make that balanced, harmonious, divine union possible. So that's how I'm kind of reading that. But it feels a lot less harsh energy. A lot less harsh. The feminine energy feels really harsh to the point where it's slightly concerning. So, and on the underside of the deck, just because it's really inspiring, we've got Cornucopia upright. So, and it's number 11, right? And the Temple card is number 12, right? So I feel like this new inspired vision, this moving forward on the spiritual path, which seems really scary from a 3D perspective for being able to manifest abundance. There's assurance that moving forward on the path is going to open up to, I guess, those bigger, newer ideas, possibilities, timelines, and options that will create some abundance, a lot of a potential abundance and wishes fulfilled, and also love wishes fulfilled. So, it's very important to kind of resolve whatever pain is happening around this. So also, I think it's worth mentioning that it's an 8. It's an 8. And this Magician in the Mirror is also an 8. And then just in terms of how you add them, 53 adds up to 8, 26 adds up to 8. And then this card here, we've got 36 adds up to 9. And then walking away, 27 also adds up to 9. So there's, with the 2 8s, there's something igniting around, and then the middle is a 3. But the 2 8s are something igniting around the infinity, around soul connections, around abundance. Again, the cornucopia really confirms that. But there's also some sort of ending, right? Major with the 2 9s, major ending of the old going on. And with the 3 that's sort of activating that Trinity energy, which I think is kind of what's bringing in this, this 11, this higher abundance. So let's get a little bit of a look into like how, those are just overall energies. So I just want to dig a little bit deeper. We'll just like as from a relationship specifically standpoint about how the feminine is looking specifically at her masculine counterpart this week. How is she feeling about him? What's in her heart space? Yeah, I feel this a lot. Strength in reverse. These just kind of fell right out. And the Hierophant in reverse. So, yeah, and then underside of the deck, is Ten of Cups. And one thing a lot of people don't know about Ten of Cups, I'll get back to it, but with the Strength in reverse and the Hierophant in reverse, I feel like there's like a bit of a giving up energy kind of, and like feeling not strong enough to kind of continue to move forward on this path. And I think there may be like a feeling that it's never going to kind of fully come into fruition into something. It's almost like there's like a giving up sort of, I feel like a real dark night of the soul energy, to be honest, for the feminine. I don't know why. I don't normally feel this at all, but it's like right before the end of some major significant important cycle, there's like all this giving up energy and this doubt, and lack of clarity and lack of insight. So and another meaning of the Ten of Cups, which is on the other side of the deck, is like, yes, it's this whole dream of the happy family, but it's also still all in the sky, right? It's in the ether. It's in the, oh, by the way, the rainbow plasma. Let's dig into this, because I really felt this quantum field that I tapped into is really connected to this rainbow plasma matrix of like the new earth. And I feel like that's really significant to this. Like maybe I just kind of feel like it feels very pie in the sky, and like how, like it's up there. How am I going to get there? How am I going to connect to this? But at the same time, it's like, it's there. That energy is there. So, and the ability to connect to it, and right, and gain all this knowledge, and that is very much going to make you an authority and a leader, and really empower you and make you incredibly strong enough to deal with, the beast of your ego and the beast of other egos or people who might doubt you. It's all possible, right? It's all there. So, so let's get some cards to like, it just, because I feel like I didn't really dive deep enough into how this like really went with another perfect person. I can't talk today. So just to like clarify, like, I don't know, man, what's coming through is so strange. I almost feel like maybe the feminine is feeling like this masculine person hasn't been strong, right? Or hasn't really committed the way that they wanted or expected. And there's like, I just feel like there's like a lot of, there's just like, it just honestly feels like resentment and hostility before some significant healing. And maybe it is going to require some people to walk away from a situation, at least, for now, in order to do that. So that's just what I'm sensing. I mean, it could also be that some sort of like a relationship is ending for the feminine. Like usually I see cards like that on the masculine side, but it could be for some feminine that a relationship that's not working or that will be in the way of connecting with the divine counterpart is ending. It could be like a past relationship with some, someone that's still in their life, to do with like a past marriage or past partner that you're raising kids with. So going over to the masculine, let's get some cards for how the divine masculine is feeling towards the divine feminine. Sorry for being, oh my God, like a million cards just fell out. Oh my gosh, am I going to take all of these? I feel like, yeah, I kind of feel like I have to. So the first card is, the devil. So I feel like, there's a lot of sexual passion that they're feeling. And again, I feel like there was a lot of sexual passion energies coming towards me this week from these divine masculine characters. So, just this like, it's not in like a gross way, but just like, very like, in my face about it in a way that's like maybe more than what would be considered normal cultural like norms, if you will. So, just combined with that, we've got like the Nine of Cups, which is what you want wants you, right? So there's like some divine masculine are looking at their divine feminine and just like wanting them, and there's no doubt that they are wanting this person on every level this week. And so, you know, it's very likely that you'll feel that. It could be even feminine that you feel this from another divine masculine, and that's what's kind of like making you feel like, you know, like you want to sort of give up on some old situation and are feeling like hostile that this other person didn't give that to you. And so you're like, I'm walking away. I'm just saying it's a possibility here. So what else came with that is we've got the Knight of Cups, and then we've also got the Seven of Cups in reverse. So there's, you know, there's a lot of clarity around the masculine being like, whoa, I like that, you know, I really like this one person, and I want to go forward to them and tell them very, very directly, because I have no doubt that this is the person that I like, and I really want to tell them how I feel about them and share that, including how attracted to them I am. I'm not going to lie, guys. The divine masculine's energy is a million times lighter than the feminine's energy right now in this reading. So, and I think that, you know, they're feeling like, I think they kind of are feeling like the divine is on their side, and it's time to really kind of step up and make, you know, go after what it is that they want, you know, and feeling like that they can make it happen in love. So, and, you know, the underside of the deck is the Chariot. So they're taking action. They're going, like I said, like they're moving towards somebody. They're moving towards you. I don't know which divine masculine it is. It might not be who you're expecting, but somebody's moving towards you. So I think this is pretty cool. So what else? What else? There's a Gateway card that wants to come through. There's some advice for the feminine from the Gateway Oracle about towards just, you know, for healing around the divine masculine energy and this week in their highest good. Oh, this is just coming up a million times. Yeah. So renewing your life, radiant vitality is filling my life. So yeah, some people are like, I think some people feel, I mean, we did have in the Divine Feminine reading this week, the 10 of Wands coming up in reverse, like a huge release of burdens, right? Just like walking away from them. Somebody was carrying a very heavy weight, and that's now come to an end. And it's coming to an end, and it says radiant vitality is filling my life. So that's positive. The radiant vitality, like, of your soul path, right? The radiant vitality of abundance, true abundance, you know, starting to come into your life. And so, you know, whatever is going to help you with that, whether it be, I think a lot of it has to do with cleaning up your mental thought space. It has to do with spending a lot of time in meditation, spending a lot of time getting still, and getting rid of all the old negative thoughts that aren't serving you anymore and replacing them with positive ones. You know, I think it's all right. It's all, I feel like that the mental space is the most significant, and then things in the physical will start to declutter, and you'll want to start to declutter certain things in your physical space more as your mental space is decluttering more, because they are reflecting each other. So let's get a card for advice for the masculine towards the feminine. Wow, that popped out in like a millisecond. Taking action. I am not surprised. That is exactly the energy I was feeling. I enthusiastically embrace life's boundless possibilities. Yeah, they're going for it, right? They're just going for it. They feel this. I love this energy, man. I love it. They're just like taking action. I'm going for it. Telling this person how I feel. They're everything. They're everything I want. They satisfy me on all levels. They bring me so much emotional fulfillment. I'm not confused. I'm not confused anymore. I know exactly what I want. Maybe I want it a little too much, but I don't care. The divine masculine doesn't care. They're not holding back. Hilarious. I love it. So, what else do we need to know? Let's pull a native spirit card and I'll take a quick read for the book. This is for the combined energy. We'll do this for advice for the combined energy. And I'll hope to clarify the temple path card. Oh, we got two. Beautiful. So we've got Flowing River and Dream Traveler. And they both had these actually beautiful flowing rivers on them. So let's take a look at the book. Before I do, I think just off, like this whole Dream Traveler card is really making me think of this vision I had about connecting into the quantum field and traveling through this like dream field. So I think that's like kind of confirming that for me, that whole experience and that whole vision. And the flowing river, I think very much is about, yeah, just like releasing the past, you know, like, and moving forward, just allow it, like definitely for the masculine, like they're definitely taking a lot of action and they're just letting things flow in a way that I haven't felt that energy of just such clear flow. And I don't know how long, maybe not ever, for the masculine energy. So it's very indicative of that. And I think, and I think it's also has to do with this whole field that I tapped into being really flowing, like, don't forget the dream traveler is also the person who can travel like Edgar Casey would connect to the Akashic field. He'd connect to the psychic realm and get insights for people in his dreams, in his sleep, right? And like these oracles, people like oracles of Delphi, they would kind of go into a bit of an altered state. I think some people actually took some sorts of, I don't know what kind of intoxicants they used, but they did use them to go into somewhat of an altered state to connect into the higher. So that's not really the point, though. The point is that it's just all about like entering this fluid flowing realm this week, which is interesting because, the masculine's coming in such a direct way that's a very little physical, a little carnal, and yet the combined energy is pretty spiritual. So something about, I think, the feminine sort of like kind of like screw off energy is gonna, I think, create a bit of a, hate to say it, but like a bit of an ego, probably opening, damaging, heart opening moment that's going to really, I think, open up some sort of like beautiful spiritual connection that's going to lead to a lot of abundance. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave it at that. I love doing this video. I really hope that you got something out of it. I'd love to see your comments. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it and if you found it insightful. And for everybody in my Facebook group, Beloved, Navigating Soul Connections and Finding Lasting Love, I love you. I love having you in the group and participating and being witness to this whole journey of expansion of consciousness and evolution. And I look forward to seeing you with more posts and insights and updates in the group. So with that being said, I send you loads of love for a beautiful, beautiful week. I, again, will be away for the week. So I will give some updates and posts definitely about like what's going on with me and all the growth and expansion, but I will be a little bit delayed with my readings for next week. So I sending you lots of love and namaste.